we're looking at this fascination with this Duke team, and I know you've said this on the air before. We've witnessed this, and I've said to the Danettes, it's one and done when you get to the tournament. It's different. If this was a best of 7, could anybody beat Duke in America in a best of 7?
No, they would win a best of 7. For Duke to lose, they have to have a bad shooting night and sort of get in foul trouble or have something crazy happen or have a performance like they had in the first 30 minutes against Louisville or something like that, where they run into a hot team. But that was a game on the road. I just don't see it, Dan. But, like you said, back in 2015, Kentucky was the best team. Back when I was an assistant, UNLV in 91 was the best team. They were undefeated, and they got clipped. So it can happen in that one-game scenario where you're the best team, and you may be the best team by far. But these guys are extraordinary. I mean, this is the best freshman class I've ever seen. It's clearly the best freshman class Coach K's ever had, and he's had some good ones. And it's not just their talent; they've got a maturity level that is that I can't fathom to be this young. And then Zion puts it on a different level. I mean, this dude. People thought I was hyperbole, whatever you want to call it, overhype when they said, well, how would you describe Zion Williamson? And my response was, oh my God. and people get it now. I think they get it. He's like putting a Mack truck in a ballet performance, and you go, hey, it works, man. This guy's good. This guy's good at this. You can't believe how nimble he is given his size and explosiveness. He's an incredible player, and the numbers he's putting up are historic. He's averaging like 24 a game in conference play. He's shooting 70%. It's crazy what he's doing, and I think he's going to get better when he starts shooting it better. How are you going to guard this guy? Like, if you don't crowd him, Dan, like, let's say a non-shooter, you step off him a few steps and give him some space. He's taken up that space, and you got to crowd him like he could shoot it, because he'll take that space up and he'll be gone. You won't have any way of stopping him.
I was talking to Chris Webber, when you had the Fab Five at Michigan. He said, well, the difference with the Duke freshmen, they're not facing veteran teams. He said, when we came into college at Michigan, we're facing guys who had been in college for 2 or 3 years. Duke was a veteran team when they were facing them. So I know it's hard to compare and contrast, but, Weber does have a valid argument that team was just as talented because of what they were facing night in and night out, as opposed to Duke. Your best teams, you're probably facing one-and-doners.
So you think that this Duke team couldn't handle, like, Kevin Salvadori and Henrik Rodel and that group that
Henrik,
you don't think they could handle that?
No, I don't think they could.
Like, look, Chris Webber is a Hall of Famer, and to be able to say somebody is some class is as good as them, I don't think is insulting to them, because I do think everything gets the idea that everything in America gets better over time except basketball players, I find ridiculous. And I'll tell you one thing, like, I don't think any member of the Fab Five would entertain the idea that anybody before them was as good as they were. Do you think they would? Like, if you said, wait a minute, man, the freshman classes in the 1960s played against better players, and they played against guys that stuck around they would never entertain that. They would never listen to it. So the idea that 30 years later players are not or could not be better, the average player is better never. It's not. Well,
you can
close.
be better. You can be more talented. But I'm saying Michigan went against veteran teams where.
No, they actually didn't win. At this point in the season when Michigan played, they'd lost 8 games. And they didn't win the Big Ten those years they were there. They went to the title game twice. They were great. Like, nobody's arguing they weren't great. But the idea that these guys, like, it's not a crazy statement to say these guys are just as good, if not better, because I think they are. And when they have a body of work with them later on in their careers, when they're older, then people are going to realize just how freaking good these guys are. Because to have R.J. Barrett averaging 22, Zion averaging like 23, 24 in conference play. The last game they played, Zion had 32 against NC State, which has some veteran players, and R.J. Barrett had a triple-double. I mean, without a turnover. That just doesn't happen. That's extraordinary what these guys are doing. And Look, I'm not trying to diminish in any way the Fab Five. What I'm trying to do is say just how good these guys are. It's historic, and I've never seen anything quite like it. It's crazy.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.